Hello students, welcome to your channel So Academy EduWorld. Today we will solve next 10 questions of this question paper, and this exam was conducted by Gale for the post of junior chemist. Okay, so I had already uploaded one video in which I covered first 10 questions of this section, and its A section contains total 75 questions. So I will provide you solutions of all 75 questions, and today we will solve next 10 questions from 11 to 20. Let's start. In this question, in the 11th question, they are saying the term S-cis and S-trans show the conformation about the single bond in 1,3-butadiene. The trans conformation is the dominant one observed for 1,3-butadiene, but UV, IR and Raman spectra shows non-planar form of second conformation is okay. So uh, for 1,3-butadiene there are two conformations. One is cis conformation, one is trans conformation. Okay, so we have to consider it's a cis conformation or trans conformation by considering double bonds like this. So this is cis conformation, S cis form. Okay, and this is S trans form. So trans conformation is dominant one, okay, is more stable for 1,3-butadiene as compared to cis conformation. So actually these conformations, or we can say S cis or S trans, so these terms actually describes the relative position of a double bond. Yeah, relative position of this double bond around the single bond between carbon and carbon in 1,3-butadiene. Okay, so trans conformation is more stable. So this conformation is more stable. Okay, so that's more commonly observed. And if we say UVI or Raman spectra, in that case we are always getting non-planar form of second conformation. So non-planar in certain conditions actually specially observed through UVIR and Raman, 1,3-butadiene can adopt a non-planar conformation. So this conformation is referred to as a gauche. Okay, so gauche conformation where double bonds are not in the same plane due to the rotation around single carbon bond. So that's why its one non-planar form is gauche form. So correct answer is third option in this question. Okay, in the next question, a sample of 2 ml was diluted to make a total volume of 300 ml. Okay, so volume of sample is 2 ml was diluted to a total volume of 300 ml. So total volume is 300 ml in BOD incubation bottle. Its initial BOD. So what is BOD? BOD is biological oxygen demand, okay, in the sample. So its initial BOD reading is 8.1 milligram oxygen, okay, and its final BOD reading was 5.6. After 5 days, okay, incubation at temperature 20 degrees Celsius, and after 5 days BOD of sample we have to calculate. So actually the BOD is calculated by this formula. You have to you can take initial BOD, okay, initial reading of BOD you can take it as D1 and final as D2. So you have to take its difference, D1 minus D2. Okay, so D1 is initial reading and D2 is final reading of BOD. Okay, divided by its volume of sample multiply volume of total volume, you can say, okay, total volume of solution after dilution. Okay, so this value, so you have to fill these all values. So value of D1 is 8.1, D2 is 5.6 milligram, and volume of sample, that is 2 ml, this one 2 ml, okay, and total volume is 300 ml. Clear? So you have to fill these all values here, and you can simply solve it, and at the end you will get 375 milligram oxygen per atom. Okay, so in this case, uh, you can cut these units, so ultimately you will get this answer with this unit, milligram. Okay, so this is the value of BOD of this sample after 5 days incubation at 20 degrees Celsius. So your correct answer is second option in this question. So in this question, the major product we have to find. So you have to treat this reactant with this diiodomethane in the presence of zinc, and followed by its acidification, okay, with HCl. So what you have to do in the first case, they are providing you diiodomethane in the presence of zinc. So if you will treat it from this, you will get generation of carbene. So you will get carbene here, okay, intermediate carbene, okay, carbene, CARBENE. So this is carbene intermediate. So now you will convert, so when carbene is reacted with any, uh, in this case, so carbene, if your reactant have double bond, so carbene will react it with, and there will be a generation of ring. Okay, so in this case, first of all there will be generation of carbene intermediate, and this will react, this intermediate will react with the double bond of the system. So this double bond, there will be a homolysis. Okay, so you will get this one, and there is carbene. Okay, so you will get at the end two single bonds, and there is a formation of cyclopropane ring. Clear? And then you have to do acidification. So if you will say acidification, so if here there is a release of H positive, and that H positive will be abstracted by this oxygen, so it will converted into OH2 positive. So ultimately there will be a removal of water, so that will happen only in this case. So you know that there is also chloride anion, right? So chloride anion will act as a, in the second step, will act as a nucleophile, and will attack with, and with Markovnikov addition. So Markovnikov addition is negative part goes to the carbon having lesser number of hydrogen. So in this case, okay, and there is a more positive, or the more stable carbocation is at this carbon you can generate. Okay, and this carbocation will be more stable. In this case, see, this chloride anion will attack at this, okay, carbon atom, and this single bond will break, okay, and will attack at this carbon, and from this side water will remove. So you will get here this as a final product. Okay, so this is your chloride. Clear? So in this case your final product is fourth. Okay, fourth option is your correct answer in this question. Clear? In the next question, at a particular condition, when the slowest rate determining step does not exist, then how is rate determined? Okay, so in that case, in the reactions when slowest rate determining step doesn't exist, in that case rate we can determine through steady state approximation. So what will happen? Actually, steady state approximation, okay, so this method assumes the concentration of intermediate species in reaction remains constant. So in this case, okay, in concentration of intermediate species, concentration of intermediate species, okay, so considered as constant. Okay, so this approach allows us for the derivation of rate laws in complex reactions where no single slow step dominates. Clear? So third option is your correct answer in this question. In the next question, Gelda flasks are used for the determination. So correct answer is nitrogen. So these flasks are used for the determination of nitrogen. Okay, so actually Zeldal method is a widely used, okay, technique just to quantifying nitrogen content. Okay, just to quantifying nitrogen content in organic compounds. Okay, so this process involves digesting the sample with concentrated sulfuric acid. Okay, so in this case what will happen? Sample is digested with concentrated sulfuric acid and converted the nitrogen of the sample into ammonium sulfate. Okay, and then next step will be distillation and then titration. Okay, to determine the to get amount of nitrogen. Okay, so this method is generally used to quantifying nitrogen content in your organic sample. So nitrogen, that is C option, is your correct answer. Okay, so in the next question, the Heisenberg uncertainty principle is applicable to. So this principle is applicable only for micro particles. Okay, so Heisenberg uncertainty principle is a fundamental approach, is a fundamental concept, okay, in quantum mechanics, and it states that it is impossible to determine exact position and momentum of a particle with absolute precision. Okay, position, so it discussed regarding position and momentum, position and momentum. So according to it, it is impossible to simultaneously determination of exact position and exact momentum of a particle with absolute precision. So this principle is significant in behavior of subatomic particles like electrons, okay, protons and other microparticles. Okay, so where quantum effects are generally predominant. Okay, quantum effects. So this actually this principle is a main concept in works in a quantum mechanics. So holds for only for microparticles. So C option is your correct answer. In the next question, a standard solution of potassium dichromate contains this gram per ml per liter. Okay, standard solution of potassium dichromate contains 5.442 gram of potassium dichromate per liter. Okay, so what is its amount of titer used in terms of milligrams? Okay, so what will happen here? First of all, uh, you have to find moles. Okay, moles of K2Cr2O7 potassium dichromate, and that is mass over molar mass, and its mass is 5.442 and its molar mass is 294.18. And when you will calculate it, so you are getting 0.01849 mole per liter. Clear? So if we talk about the balanced equation in when potassium dichromate will treat with uh, Fe3O4, so its balanced equation is Fe2 positive, Cr2O7 2 negative, 14H positive to 6Fe3 positive plus 2 chromium 3 positive, okay, plus 7 water molecules will be removed. So this is the balanced chemical equation. Okay, so it means that 1 mole of potassium dichromate reacts with 6 mole of Fe3O4. Okay, so 1 mole of potassium dichromate reacts with 6 mole of Fe3O4. Clear? So 1 mole of potassium dichromate reacts with 6 mole of Fe3O4. Okay, so you are obtaining 0.01849 moles of potassium dichromate according to the given mass. Okay, so it means that if it's 1 mole reacts with 6 mole of Fe3O4, so it's 0.01849 mole of potassium dichromates reacts with. So what you have to do, you have to just multiply it with this 6. Okay, so after solve it you will get 0.111 mole per liter. Okay, so this is the, okay, so it means 0.111 mole of Fe3O4 involved in a reaction. So in that case, now what you will convert, now you have to find moles of Fe3O4 using stoichiometry. Okay, so its total mole is 0.111 mole per liter. Okay, so total per moles you involve it use 0.111, and using stoichiometry there are 3 iron, so you will divide it by 3. Okay, so you are obtaining 0.037 moles. Okay, according to stoichiometry if we will divide, and if you have to find mass of Fe3O4, and you know that number of moles is equal to mass over molar mass, and to find mass you have to multiply moles with the molar mass. Okay, moles with the molar mass, and moles you calculate 0.037, and its molar mass of Fe3O4 you can calculate it, its value should be 231.5 gram per mole. Okay, so mole will cancel out and you will get at the end 8.56 gram. Okay, so this is your correct answer. You can also take it into milligrams. So in this question your correct answer is first option. Next question is the readability of microbalance. Okay, so 4 options are provided. The correct answer is first, that is 0.001 milligram. So actually these microbalances are very sensitive. Okay, so it can measure very small masses often used in labs for precise measurements. Okay, so the readability or the smallest increment that can be measured and is usually 0.001 milligram. So first option is correct answer in this question. In the next question, in the Huckel molecular orbital of benzene, which of the following energy level is doubly degenerated? So if you look into the structure of benzene using Huckel molecular orbital, so in this case, okay, so you will get one, then two double degenerated, then doubly degenerated, and then singly degenerated. These are the energy levels you will get, and its lower level has energy alpha plus 2 beta, next alpha plus beta, next alpha minus beta, next alpha minus 2 beta, and they are saying which of the following energy level is doubly degenerated. Okay, so its doubly degenerators has energy alpha plus beta and alpha minus beta, and out of these two energies they are providing you this, so alpha plus beta is your correct answer, first option. Clear? In the next question, in drinking water other than chlorine, okay, which element is also added to prevent tooth decay? So correct answer is fluoride. Okay, so first option is the correct answer. So actually fluoride helps to strengthen tooth enamel, okay, so making it more resistant to decay, causing acids produced by bacteria in mouth. So that's why uh, fluoride is correct option, okay, in this question. So first option is your answer, and remaining questions I will cover in next video, and will try to cover more questions in a single video, but I'm not making such long lengthy videos, okay. So I will try to finish this question paper soon, and if you have any doubt and or queries, you can mention in comment box and I will respond to you there. And if you like the video, share it with your friends who are preparing for such type of exams, and also subscribe the channel. Don't forget to subscribe it, and thank you very much.